try to get some of this stuff assembled. So we're looking for something like that. All right, I think I got that laid out now. We can kind of see how things go together. Step one, we're looking for the 2 log bunks and 2 tracks with these bolts. The M10 1.5 times 30 hex bolts. 3/8 flat washers. And I'm going to place this one here and that one there. Some here. This is going to be 30 millimeter at 10 millimeter. And we know that this is our hex little spot. And we'll hang this over and do this here. Right now I'm just going to get them installed. And then I'll turn this back on. I've got to move this one to right there. So that's where that one's going to go in. I'm going to go ahead and do it now so I don't forget in that orientation. Expand from there. It'll make it easier to get these hand tight. So we'll do that real quick. That'll also let us get those legs on there that need to be adjusted. We'll do that, and then we'll move. We'll do those, and then we'll move to the next step. This thread, 1/2 inch, 12 hex nut halfway onto each one. We did that. And now we need the adjustable feet. The nuts that we just completed has a single bolt. And so we're going to put that in there. This is going to be the adjustable feet. I'm going to get my other jacket. It is getting cold out here. Looks like there are 4 adjustable feet that go on this. And we have 6 here. These are the nuts that adjust up, I believe. Nope, they'll stay there. All right, there's 4, so these other 2 will go somewhere else. Let's find, I think those nuts are right here that go with it. Go ahead and get 4 of those. There we go. We may need more than that, so I'm going to put those right there for right now. I want to look at the instructions again. All right, so what we've got to do is get those hex nuts we just took out. We got to run those down halfway. So I'll do that, and then we'll slide those on. I'm just going to put them on right now, and then I'll run these down halfway. Just get them started. There we go. All right, so I'm going to run these. I'm going to run these down halfway, and then we'll insert them into these holes. There's 4 that we got to put these on. I'm going to insert this here down to that bolt that's at the halfway point and run these other ones down. All right, good. So we were looking for the rail bracket, and there's 2 of them, and they're in this container here. This needs to go underneath. We'll slide those on. We'll put that nut on this one, and then we'll do the same thing opposite side. Those are not tight yet, just finger tight. We're going to take that other rail and just repeat those steps. Because that other log bunk is going to go right here on those 4. So we're going to bring these bolts as far away to leave 4 in the center for that log bunk. These have to go, and we have to leave the 4 in the center open. All right, there we go. Here, and we're going to place it right around in there. So we're going to install the last log bunk, same bolts. And then use the 90-degree square to adjust the rear. So we haven't done that. We'll go in and square all these up. Right here, I want to do that before I put the log bunk on because it showed it in the illustration. And then we'll run this other one down on top of it. We can use those to adjust later on where we're at. And the distance from this and the ground. Let's go ahead and get that log bunk on there. Same orientation as the others. Place that in there. All right, so we'll run these down, and then we'll move. We'll go get a square. I'll go ahead and turn the camera off for right now. tighten it down. So that one needs to be adjusted that way. May have to place them in here. I need something kind of flat. I want that to kind of flatten out, and then we'll tighten that down once we get everything squared up. I've got a couple different squares. In case one doesn't fit, I can use this other square, and then we'll tighten those down as we get the edges square. And that's probably where we're going to stop today because we're losing sunlight. Then we'll work on this some more tomorrow. This top part of that bolt is a 17. Bottom one's a 14. There we go. So I'm going to tighten these down. I have to use that as a check there. So I'm going to do this other side. Everything kind of squared up. And then as I do that, I'll tighten them down. There we go, that's better. So it'll take a little bit of adjustment to get these square. As square as we can. All right, so I'm not even doing these finger tight right now. Just slightly tighter than they were. And then I'll try to get these squared up. Right there. That looks good on this. So I'm going to try to tighten them a little bit more by hand. See if that'll hold that position. And then I'll go get my wrench and do it here too. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. I'll take a level when I get to its final location in the garage. And so now we're going to tighten all track fasteners, which we did. We'll tighten those down later, the levels. So those adjustable feet, we'll tighten those down later. Because like I said, we still have to move it. And then now we're going to take the log clamp shaft brackets on number 14. And it shows it in figure 2 where those go. So we're going right over here and right over there on these two that are closest to us. We're going to get those installed. The flange nut and run it down here. Let me go ahead and tighten those down. We are getting really close to using all those up. We're going to take this log clamp receiver, one of two, same thing here, and we're going to run it on that clamp shaft. So that's not going to stay in place like it shows in the figure. That's going to slide in here, and that's going to go there. Same thing with those over there, because I didn't know how much I was going to have to move them around. We'll tighten these down in just a second. There we go, those are hand tight. There's figure 23 where my thumb is. We're going to take these, they're shown right there. We're going to insert that log clamp like it's shown. I believe these go in there. Here, slide that down in there. That looks like that'll kind of hold it in place, but I'm going to run this down, kind of cinch it in, show you what it looks like. So these are the log supports here. It says we're going to need 3 of these. We had 2 there. We're going to need 3. I don't see where the third one goes, but we'll figure it out. 3. All right, so that's going to go in there. That's going to go in there. This one's going to go up here. That one's going to thread in. Looks like it's just squared tubing if I didn't get them. I've got the nuts here. That goes in there. I'm going to put this one in for now until I find the other one, because it did say 3. But I think I should have a 4th one for this longer part down here, but I could be wrong. All right, not a big deal. I'll look around for the other one, see if I can find it. Because it only shows 2 here in this illustration. So maybe it only comes with 2. We're gonna install an M12 bolt. Looks like there's 1 of them, and it's gonna go further down towards the end. The one that doesn't have the other log support, the furthest one. Oh, right here. I bet you it's one of those. That looks like an M12. That's a locking nut there. All right, so this one's calling for the M12 bolt, 35 millimeters long, 15 millimeter spacer, and a locking nut. Those were all in the same bag. Looks like there's some more right here. Bolt, spacer on the outside, nut on the inside. All right, spacer, nut, there. We've got the majority of the base frame finished, and we'll run those down, we'll tighten those down. Got to go get these post sleeves. One that has the holes furthest apart here, the ones with the closer one, slide that down there. The 2 holes that are furthest apart on the bottom, on the base of that, right in the center. So that's a little bit easier to see. These bolts are on the opposite side from the cables. This is where the bolt started. It went through that direction. Slide that down. All right, so now this says you need an assistant to help you hold this piece because it does look kind of heavy. I think it's going to go on like that. So we just completed figure 28, which is step 24. Now we got to go attach scale calibration bracket to the cross beam. All right, we've got the scale calibration bracket through there. And that this one will go all the way through there. Cable pulleys to the cross beam. These are going to be M12s. So if we go back to step 26, we need that M12 bolt. That's 110 millimeters long. But we need a spacer. I have to put that spacer on. So bolt with washer on this side, then the spacer, then the pulley, and then the nut. On to step 27, we're going to put this panel on the back. You're going to have 2 of these bolts that are 70 millimeters long. So again, M10s. I think they come in this pack here. That should be them. Just so it kind of stays in place. That one goes there. So we're going to attach a cable pulley to the right rear post. Spacer, that's that shorter spacer, pulley, and nut. It's going to have to go like that. So it says to remove that hex nut that has those 2 pulleys on top to this part and take these 2 pulleys off. Okay, and hex bolts from lift assembly. So these 2. All right, we'll put that back on. All right, we'll get this as tight as we can by hand. There we go. So that's going to stay. So again, just hand tight right for now. I'm going to go back before I go too far and knock out step 30, and that's just putting this handle back in place, putting that, sliding that in. Runs down on the back part of it, putting that down. All right, good. We got that back in place with the pulleys, and those pulleys are going to be right here mounted below. Bolt spacer, pulleys, little washer that keeps the bolt from rubbing against pulleys, it looks like. And then run that down. Hand tight for right now. Whew. All right, let's see how. All right, we're going to stop right there for today. We're going to have to get those aligned and bolted on. Kind of in position. Kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm on the back side of it. And what may be happening is this track here may be kind of turned out. I may need to bring it in some. And that might help align those bolts. Yeah, it did on that side. There we go. Run that down. Run this one down. Just make sure I'm not cross-threading anything. I should be able to run these down with just my finger. All right, this I am going to run down. There we go. All right, for right now, for what I need. Okay, so we got those tightened up. We're good to go. Let's look at the next step. So I've made a loop. So in the illustration, it shows that these portions of the bolt, the head of the bolt will go up. We got to put that washer back on. That slides back on. That slides there. And now we're going to have to route this cable once we get this one on. So A's here, then we come back around to B. We go up to C, then we go down, and then we secure it to that side. Through there. And I'll check and see if that one goes through the top one on this one too, or through the bottom one. Through here, and back down to this part right here. And that feels like where the bend is. So and we may have to adjust the tension of that. Right now we're just getting it in place. I don't know if you can see that from there. Cable B. I'm going to run it through. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to run it back down there. And then we'll bring it to the point that they already had kind of bent. Try to get it right there at that same setting. And then I'll run that down. I got to get my tools. I'm going to have to wrap around here. But I've got to look at the direction it's going to go. I may have to shorten that. Around D, we're going to come around here, go around E, which is the bottom one. We're going to come across and go F. We're going to come up and go G. And then we're going to come down here and we'll put that other cable clamp on. That feels good. All right, so this, we're going to install the push handle. All right, so we got that. I'm going to go ahead and tighten some of these down since we got those on. So that should be a 17 millimeter. We're going to have to go around and tighten all of them, but we'll go ahead and get some of these snugged up. We're probably still going to have a lot of adjustment on here because I doubt that I got everything tensioned just right, but we'll find out later on. right now, let's just get it assembled, and then we'll do all the tensioning and everything else later on. There we go. All right. Got that tightened down. Six millimeter, 30 millimeter long. Right here at the very tip top, and then went down. All right, so now we've got the scale calibration bracket, and I'll show it to you. Right here in 43, we've got this calibration bracket with that knob that's going to go to the inside that you see where it's a scale calibration knob right here. Scale indicator. We've got these two M6 30 millimeter long hex bolts, and then we'll have the 6 M6 hex nuts, and it shows you how those go on. So right here is how they're going to be installed. So you see 3 right there times 2. We're going to do that twice for this. One on that side of the bracket, one on the other side. All right, so we're going to start there and get this adjusted. Something looks way off here. Hang on. But I think that it is. There's that. M6 bolts, the ones that are 30 millimeters long with a nut on each one. I think this will even slide up and down a little bit more than it is, and then we can lock it in place. On the cable leg wheels, and it's 1 of 4, and we want these to be 606 millimeters. I had to look that up, and we are shooting for 23.9 inches, and I think it's in this track here is what we're looking for. This edge here to that edge there, I am there. Here need to be the same length or same width apart. Yep, I think we're there. In the instructions it says that it's super heavy to lift and that you may need a forklift or hoist, which I don't have. There's a place where you would use the hoist to lift it up. The stops to prevent it from running off the track. So I think I can lift this up, and I might, if I can't pull this underneath with my own hands, which I can, have to, I guess if you couldn't do this step like I'm doing right now, you might be able to put some 2x4s underneath it. Right now I'm just going to try to line these up as best I can. That one on there. Now, before I drag all the paint off of it, I'll lift this one up. And there we go. We are in business now. Yep, those are on there. Our measurements were correct. I do need to tighten bolts up on this portion, but we're good. Yay. We've got a dust port that we can install. I'm trying to look to see where it'll go. With the Allen head on them. Gonna insert those. So we're gonna insert this one. Insert this one. And this one. So right now I'm just going to hand tighten those, and I'll come back with an Allen wrench to tighten those down. And right here in step 53, we're going to install 4 of these M6 bolts, and that are 10 millimeters long with the flat washers that come with those. One like that. I'm going to close this so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put these 2 on. Get that to kind of pinch in there. There you go. And then this snaps shut. There's one in the back, one in the front. So I'm doing the back one same on the opposite side. The reason it's moving right now, I haven't run those down. Put that on. All right, we'll run that one down too a little bit more. There we go.